Good. That's important.
Morning, Dave.
Reba.
Hey.
Recognize that voice.
Yep, I'm trying to get myself back on the wagon.
Good. This is one
It's
of
been
those
a
wagons.
hell of a
This,
couple
this is
years.
the wagon we're good to have everybody back on.
Yep. I kind of committed now. I just took care of all of my fees for everything. So
You
it's kind
were
of a
committed?
commitment issue.
You were committed? Is that what you said?
Well, I said I'm saying that I am more committed now because I just laid down all my money to reinstate things.
So you literally committed. Committed to real estate.
Well, it's been a rough couple of years.
Yes, yes,
I'm sure you know what that's like.
I do. I do. So we're
Do
going to
do
kick
it.
off here in a couple minutes, but who's got some things? We covered a couple things over the last couple of days. I always like to lead in with our ahas or alerts or those big bright shining moments for you guys all where the light came turning on for you. So who's got some stuff? And if you don't have something, then I ain't certainly not doing my job. Alyssa turned her mic on, so like she was prompted to say something.
Yes, I did actually use what you showed us in terms of the custom command settings and changing the tags.
Okay.
I actually used that yesterday.
Woo! All right. Went home and did some homework.
But my question is, why can't I delete the existing tags that the system creates that I don't use?
They're built into the platform. They're
Okay.
KW say, because if you read the red book, they're the main ones. They're saying you have to have these. Like these are priority, right? So they're not looking for you to recreate clients bought, sold. Like just saying these are the ones we know you use.
Yeah,
And if you don't, they're just there.
Yeah, there's like
Right.
93 of them in there, and like Boomtown is in there twice, and one has an exclamation point. So it's kind of weird.
So you're talking about lead sources, not tags.
Well, yeah, that was one of them. Yeah, I used it in two different places.
Yeah.
Lead sources, tags, the custom fields. I looked at them all.
Yeah, well, so lead sources are different than tags, right? And lead sources, yeah, lead sources, they tried to run the gamut and think of that everything that agents are currently using in their business, because lead sources are subtly different than tags, right?
Okay.
So they thought, all right, these are all the different places where leads could come from or our relationships could come from without having to have you create them. Tags were a little bit different because tags are so unique, as we talked about, right? I've got a tremendous amount of people that are from hockey or from soccer or from my school, and how we name things are different. Lead sources, for the most part, even though there's a lot of them, they're fairly standard across the industry, right? Boomtown, Facebook, open houses, marketing flyers, those types of things are pretty consistent for everybody. So I would be careful to be redundant in your lead source and creating tags that are equivalent to those. But that's I'm glad you went back and started to jump into that, because filtering that database and organizing the database, as we really took a lot of time to talk about, to me is the most important thing to do at any point in your business, is making sure that's accurate, right? Because then we know garbage in, garbage out. Like trying to get our arms around it later down the line gets very, very complicated and time consuming.
Definitely. Thank you.
Sure. Now, I see a lot of you have already put your market center numbers with your name. So thank you. And for those of you that haven't done that yet, please click on your picture, click the three dots, and rename yourself with your market center number after your name. And if you don't know what your market center number is, there it is. There's all your market centers and all your Rockstar Market Center Tech trainers. Right. Today, I've got Derek and Shelly on with us today. Everybody say hi.
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 Shelly is Market Center Tech Trainer OG. She's been with me since the beginning. And Derek is one of our newer ones. So I'm happy to have them both along for this journey. So as you know how we roll today, right? So we will be moving along, and I'll be covering everything that I can cover. And if you have questions, please throw them in chat, and Derek and Shelly will be checking those If there's something that's hot topic that I need to drop, they'll ask me to stop and address something. I'll pause at different times throughout the session, and then I'll go open mic at the end of the session to try to answer any other questions that haven't been addressed. Because more than likely, as I walk through these, I'm going to cover just about anything that you could think of. Not everything, but we will see at the end if and what I missed anything. Does that sound good for everybody? Thumbs up. Awesome. All right, so today we are going to jump into SmartPlans, session 3 of 8 today. SmartPlans are our set it and forget it emails, tasks, text messages, right? Things that we do inside of Command that helps us communicate with our database on a regular basis, keeps us out in front of them, in a set it and forget it type of format to a degree. Now, there's a lot of information in here, and we continue to evolve SmartPlans as we go along. So there's a couple of house cleaning items that I want to make sure that you have configured, right, in order for your SmartPlans to function the way that you really truly need them to function, okay? So first and foremost, and we'll keep talking to this, is your marketing profile complete, right? That marketing profile inside of Command, right? And if I just open up my window here, needs to be complete, because that marketing profile will push your likeness, your bio, your contact information out when we're sending emails or messages to your system. So without a complete profile, they're not going, and there are some things that won't function properly. So it is important, and I want to make sure I'm sharing my screen correctly with you all. It's important that you have this configured. So just a reminder of where to find that is under settings, under your name at the top. This first profile is your agent to agent profile and not your marketing profile. So it's important to know. Your marketing profile is under settings. Then on the left-hand side, you'll come down to connect settings and you'll see a marketing profile buried right there. This should be completed. Okay. Headshots, logos, contact information, bios, market center information. This is what you want configured so that when you start utilizing the platform at a higher level, your likeness is going out accordingly. All right. Your command reply to email. So you do have to have your email set up in Command. Now, we talked about your KW email, right, which is your Gmail. The KW email system, okay, is called Command Email. So under your settings, we'll come back here again, settings. On this screen at the very, very bottom, you see Command Email, okay? You've got to configure your account, and then you've got to set up what is your reply to email. So remember, your KW email, KW email is your Gmail. And I know this, I will try to explain this as best I can because it can be a little bit confusing. Your KW email, daviddonaldson@kw.com. That's my KW, that's my Gmail. It's what I use for my everyday communication with you all, right? And that's what you guys should be using professionally for your business, unless you have your own team or organization structured email formatted, right? Should not be using Gmail, AOL, or anything like that. It's just not professional. KW's communication system for automatic emails that are sent out from the system had to have their own email platform. Okay, so Command Email is different than your Gmail account that's provided to you. Your Command Email is not one that you will email out to people per se. It'll automatically send it from the platform, and that's really about it. And what that would look like, it would be your name, and then it'll say agent, and it'll have your KW ID number, which is called a quid. Many of you don't even know what that is, but that's okay. And then it'll say agent 12345@mail.kw.com. And that's what your consumers will actually, the email they'll receive something from. But your name will be branded. It'll say David Donaldson. And that's why it's important that your marketing profile is configured so it pulls your name the right way. Okay. Now, when they hit reply to that email that may have been automatically sent to them from your system, Command, okay? If they reply to that email, you control where that response goes to. So under reply email, you need to set it to your KW email address or the email address that you utilize in your day-to-day business. You get 5,000 emails a month provided to you for free from KW. If you find yourself going above that, you can subscribe for more, okay? And that's what happens here. You can see that I've sent out 128 of 5,000 emails this month. That's a decent amount of emails, and I'd be surprised at this point, unless you've been in business for a while, that you're going beyond that, okay? So I wouldn't worry about it too much. If you need to change your subscription, you can do that here and increase how much you send out on a regular day, and there's a fee for that, okay? But so this is what I say, you got to set up your reply to email under command email. So I do want to pause here because I want to make sure that you guys have clarification around Gmail, your day-to-day business email, and the email that's sent out for automatic updates to consumers through command. What do you guys think about that? Is that clear as mud? Okay, awesome. And just so you know, there's also under, I'm not going to delve into this too, but under reports, there's a email tracking. So when I clicked on reports on the left, and I go to emails, I can actually see email stats when I've sent things out. How many clients clicked on something that I sent them? How many were undelivered? Like, so was the email incorrect? Now I can't click on that at this point to see what emails are wrong. They're working on that, but that's not where this is at right now. My open percentage, did they respond? Did they unsubscribe, or did they flag it as spam? So this platform is getting more and more enhanced with that, but I just wanted you to know that this tracking is there for you, as well as telling you where you are on your monthly usage for emails. So that's underneath reports, okay? All right, perfect. So also you need to have your Twilio connection, okay? So Twilio is your texting service. So underneath, we cover this in settings, but it's worth repeating. Underneath settings, okay, right below your command email notifications at the bottom is Twilio. Now, I'm in a demo account, it's not connected. But what you would need to do is go in here and connect. Actually, I'm in my account and it's not connected. So I have to, oh yeah, it is. I thought it said not connected. I'm blind. So you would need to go in here and configure your account and create a Twilio account. Twilio is a third-party relationship company. It's not KW, okay? This is for broadcast text messaging. This is not using your personal cell phone number. There's no way to do that right now, okay? So in order for us to send text messages through SmartPlans or direct text through command, you have to have this third-party phone number, like a Google Voice number, but it's just for texting, right? So you would go in here, you create an account, you will choose a phone number, okay, local to you, 703-571-202, whatever your prefix is, area code. Now, there's only so many numbers locally that they have their hands on. So if you want a 703 number, you might not see any available. You might have to choose something else. Or you can just check back daily, because those numbers, as they get dropped by other users, may become available. So I know 703 has been the hardest one to get to claim. Okay. The reason that this is done is this allows us to send messages out from command and track those text messages. Okay. There's a usage amount. There's a cost associated with this. You manage your subscription in here. And what you would see is that for 300 text messages a month, it costs like $3.18 per month. If I wanted to send 1,500 text messages a month, it's like $11. So it's relatively inexpensive to utilize. Tracks your usage and everything like that. Now, there's actually a couple different levels of what you get charged. They call them credits. Credits are not a one-to-one basis for text messages going out, because there's different types of text messages. If I send a standard text, it's 1 credit. And if I send a longer text, which I equate to basically like you're sending them an email, essentially it's very long, but via text, you're going to get charged. That's over 160 characters. You'll get charged 2 credits. Okay. If you send a multimedia, which means that I send a link, that I send a photograph, that I send a video, then I get charged, I believe those are 3 credits. So be mindful that depending on what you're sending and what you're texting them, you may be burning through your credits at a quicker rate. I know some agents use this platform pretty heavily, so you're just gonna be mindful of that. And it'll prompt you, just like I showed you emails, there's a report there for text messages. that shows you the same types of things: usage, unsubscribes, right? And where I am in the month. So those two things, command email, command text, are built in. There is certain charges that may be associated with that. There is no fee for the number, but you're buying the usage of it. So let me pause here. Oh, sorry. One other thing I'm going to cover. There's call forwarding, which is an additional fee. So what that means is, so if anybody were to call me on this 703-343-9396 number, it'll forward to my phone. So if Ted was to pick up the phone and call me and calls me at my text number, don't do it, Ted. I see you raising your phone. All right. Then it will forward to my cell phone, because that's how I've set it up. And so there's a one-time fee or a credit fee to charge that connection, right? And then based on how many minutes I'm on, we'll use more credits. Now, I highly recommend you do connect that. And I highly recommend that if somebody calls you on that, you don't disconnect and call them back, because sometimes especially if it's somebody you don't know, reconnecting is always a challenge. It's not going to be a burdensome cost to you to churn through some of those credits if you're going to call somebody. So that's my recommendation: to set up Twilio, choose your number, set up the subscription plan, choose between, like I said, I pay the $11 a month for 1,500 text messages. I probably should drop to 300. I just don't send that many right now. But you know your business and what you're utilizing. We pause here and ask if there are any questions around this platform. Anything in chat, guys?
Did you mention, you said something about, okay, you connect your phone number to that phone number?
Yeah, so that's call forwarding at the bottom of this page. You cannot text from your phone and have a tracking command.
Because I've been using Twilio, but I don't think it's been coming to my phone. So that probably might be why.
Well, using Twilio
Mhm.
for texting only goes to command.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's okay. Gotcha. Then that's it.
If it were to connect to your phone as a call, somebody would have to call you on your number, and you would have to set up call forwarding.
Gotcha. Appreciate that.
You won't see the text messages show up on your phone.
Okay. Perfect.
Not at this point. Like, they're working on some workarounds, command mobile and application, things like that. We'll see enhancements to that. But right now, this is how it functions.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. We good, everybody? All right. Moving on. So we touched on Twilio, call forwarding, and text messages. All right. So SmartPlans. SmartPlans are those set it and forget it types of things. Now, the cool thing about SmartPlans is a lot of different ones. There's KW provided ones. There's 10. What we call a monthly neighborhood nurture, a birthday, a call plan, an open house, long-term nurture. They're all created for you by KW. We're going to look at those. Then there are agent-created ones, which I just absolutely love. So this is one thing I love about KWRI, is the openness about who we are. So if Amir was to create an incredible post-closing follow-up plan for his clients, and he wanted to share it with all of you, he can publish his plan to what we call a public library, and you all could copy it and bring it into your own and utilize it. And so what you see is a lot of the larger teams or agents, they're sharing information, but there's like 2,000 different smart plans that have been created by associates that are open for you to copy and bring into your universe to utilize for your business. And I just think was a really incredible way to go about this, than having KW create them. Who better than the agents themselves that are out in the field create these things and then share them with everybody. So I know a lot of you probably aren't aware of that, but there's a lot there. Like, how do you follow up with a smart plan? How do you follow up on an open house? How do you follow up post-closing, right? How do I recruit somebody? There's all kinds of plans in there. We're going to look at those. So you can create those. And then the cool thing is when you copy those, right? And I referenced Amir there, that I have a post-closing plan that he had, I bring it to mine. Then I can even tweak it and customize that a little bit to make it more my own. I might change some of the script. I might change some of the verbiage, right? I may add a different step, because you're just creating a copy and then it becomes yours. But it gives you a foundation where to start. And why that's fantastic is a lot of new associates don't know where to start, right? They don't know what they don't know. So there's a great leverage, a great tool for you to replicate what others have already done to give you a baseline, a jumping off point. Too fast. Then you also have the ability to create your own. Maybe you do a movie night. Maybe you do a client event. you can create your own processes, right? Maybe there's a certain way you do open houses. There's a certain way that you follow up for post-closing. You can create your own steps. When do I create an email? Do I create a flyer? Do I have to do a task? Do I have to make a phone call? Do I send them a text? Do I send them an email? And how regularly do I do this? And does it repeat? You can build out your own smart plans. So you've got KW ones, you've got agent created ones, and you have the ability to be fully customizable and build your own, right? If you are on teams, teams can create them or copy them and bring them into their library for the agents and their teams to use. So that's also another great benefit. You can use smart plans to send a single email out to people. I utilize that a lot. You can also incorporate some of the design elements, which we'll get into designs later, but if you had created a flyer, or you created a social media post, or if you created a listing or a buyer present, you can choose those templates that you've built out and attach it to the email. So it can be text, or it can be more dynamic and have graphics associated with it. It could have a video link. It won't have a live framed in video at this point, but it would open up a video like if you had hosted something on like a YouTube channel. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump in now into the smart plans themselves. Any questions before I go live into that? All right, cool. So smart plans on the left-hand side here, we'll see that prominently, smart plans. Before we go and add them to any contact records, I just want to show you and walk you through the library a little bit. This is your page. The cool thing is at the top, you've got a guided tour, right? So this will step you through, right? So you have my video, but then you also, when you're in here, you have the ability to use a guided tour of how to do certain things, all right? So your smart plans, or my smart plans, are the ones that you've either built or brought into your library by copying either KW's or somebody else's. So this is your list of currently copied smart plans. You say I've got 31 different ones in here right now, okay? And then when they were created, total touches, and whatnot. And on the right-hand side, I can add people to those smart plans, right? There's multiple places to add people to smart plans. This is just one of them. There's like 4 different places, my camera, 4 different places to add people to actively created smart plans. And this happens to be one. I could click on this and I could choose people from my contacts, either by individual name, okay, or by tag, right? So if I said tag and I said, show me all of my hockey contacts, they would populate in a list here. I could select all. Now this select all will let me do 20 at a time. Then I can scroll to the next page, add the next bunch. I don't utilize this as much because there's a better bulk way to do it. But just so you know what you're looking at here, you'll be filtered by name or tags, and you can add 20 at a time to the smart plan, okay? I can edit the smart plan. Depending where the smart plan came from, certain aspects may be editable and certain may not. If I go into edit, and we'll get into the editor in more detail, but I can go in here and add different events to enhance this particular smart plan or change out some of the text messages or emails that are going out. We'll go into a little bit more detail, but that is where the edit function is housed, okay? And then to the right of it, I have the 3 dots. I can copy. So maybe I wanted to take the baseline one that I had and copy it but change it a little bit, but keep my original, so I can create a copy. If I publish to library, that means I'm going to take this smart plan, I'm going to publicly publish it to the KW library so all agents can utilize it, right? That's our creative area of sharing. So that's what publish means. Or I could delete the smart plan. You can certainly delete it. I'm not using this anymore. I'm going to delete it. Now, in order to delete it, I can't have any contacts associated with that plan. So I would have this list of contacts here, or I could go into the smart plan itself, and I would just see, is anybody on that smart plan currently? And I would have to remove them from the smart plan before I delete it. All right. So now, and then if I showed you publish, if I had published any, then they would be housed under here, which means these are public to everybody in KW. Now, if you do publish a plan, okay, and let's just say that I put it out there and Shelly copied my post-closing plan and she brings it in her lobby, it's her copy. If she makes changes to that, it doesn't affect my copy and it doesn't affect the copy that's in the publicly shared library, okay? Now also, let's just say that I create this command Teams email or a smart plan that I have, and I publish that to the library. If I make changes to it inside of my smart plans, it doesn't update the published version because the published version is still just another copy. So I would have to republish it as a new. Right. So everything, there are firewalls between everything to protect you, between them. And as you make tweaks and changes, it doesn't necessarily publish to the library. And thirdly, fourthly, or fifthly, depending on where I'm at, if I change the public library version, the copy that Shelly brought into her smart plans does not update because it's a copy. So if there was an updated version, it'll be stamped in the public library that she would have to go in and copy it again and bring it back to her. Does that make sense for everybody? All right. Now, let's take a look at the library itself. You go to the library. This is the KWI public library. All right. Nice thing about this is that you don't need a library card. A bad joke? I don't know. I guess your library card is your command membership, right? All right. So at the top, what you see are Keller Williams created smart plans. Okay. And if I click over here and I say see all, you'll see that there's 10 of those. Okay. And kind of scroll down. Bi-weekly neighborhood nurture, 8x8, quarterly call plan, mid-nature, monthly neighborhood, birthday, open house follow-up, home anniversary, and promote my app. Everybody has these publicly to them to copy and bring into their own. The question that you should be asking yourself is, well, one, how do I know what it is and do I want to use it? So that's great. So there's the description. They're rated. So if you copy one of these, especially if it's another agent's, please give them a solid rating because it matters. Like they're gone through the work and published something for you. So make sure that you give them the kudos, okay? Now at the bottom of these, and this is a bi-weekly neighborhood nurture, you'll see view steps. So I can actually see, okay, what is this? What is comprised in the smart plan? What's going to happen here? There's an email, then there's a pause, and then it repeats. So this is a bi-weekly neighborhood nurture. So we're going to talk about this. Remember yesterday, we talked about creating an address to a contact card and having that pinning to a map. This is the smart plan that would go along with. There's bi-weekly, which is every other week, right? And then there's monthly, which is once a month. So you can choose each one. That will send your consumers updates of the areas that you have earmarked for them of interest, okay? It's not search. It's not editable to the point of show me price, show me number of bedrooms or bathrooms and filterable. It's not a safe search. That's there too. It's something different. This is just an update of what's going on in the neighborhoods where they live, right? This is something that I've always done the 14 years of my business. And I used to use the MLS, right? So I would sell somebody or I would know where somebody lived and I would set them up on the safe search at that point. Okay. And they would send them updates monthly just to give them activity alerts of what's going on around the house where they live. Okay. So in this particular case, this is essentially what this is, bypassing the MLS and tying everything back to your command record. Okay. So, and if you liked what this did, which I recommend, then you click add smart plan and it'll bring it into your library. Now, when you click add smart plan, it's going to ask you to rename it. By default, it'll drop anytime you copy something. It'll take the standard name, what it's already called, and add my in front of it, which means it's your copy. So you can rename this should you choose, or they're all just, you're going to see my bi-weekly, my open house, my post closing, my Facebook follow-up, whatever that looks like, whatever that original name was, unless you change the whole thing. Certainly up to your choice. Add that, and that'll bring that into your Smart Plans personal library. Okay. Well, let me show you one that's got a little bit more step-by-step to it. So quarterly call plan. So you'll see here on the quarterly call plan, this is used, right? Because staying in touch with people is important. And what I like about this one is that it's going to remind me to call certain people once a quarter. And when I set this up, okay, it'll ask me, do I want to add everybody to the smart plan now? Okay. Or do I want to scroll it out? So imagine you've got 500 people, 5,000 people in your database, whatever that looks like. You don't want to set them up and launch this on the same day, because then it would remind you once a quarter that you've got to call 5,000 people on Thursday the 13th or whatever day it was, right? But you can actually tell the system that, hey, I can handle about 10 people a day for calls. And it'll stagger out 10 per day over that quarter and say, call these 10 people, call these 10 people, call these 10 people. Now, you don't check off and say that you called those 10 people, it's going to snowball on you, right? So be honest with yourself about how regularly you're going to call people and at what intervals. The system will walk you through setting it up. We'll see that here in a couple of minutes. But also, when I hover over phone call, see what's happening here? It's telling me who I'm going to call. And when you see those brackets, contact first name, those are called mail merge. So it's going to populate that information from the contact record into my notes and telling me not only who I need to call today, but what am I supposed to say? A lot of us don't know what to say. So the system, either if it's KW created or agent created for emails and phone calls and text messages, will have predefined created content for you, telling you what to say and what's going to go out. Right. And that's why I said when you copy these things, you may want to tweak it a little bit so it matches and it sounds like it's coming from you. But there's a lot of, again, baseline standard information that makes your life really, really easy. And if I look at one that's a little bit more dynamic, no, that's not the one. Birthday. I know. So there's a birthday plan. So there's multiple tasks. So birthday plan inside of KW's universe, okay, has 6 steps associated with it. So if you have a birth date set up on your contact card, we talk about being 100% accountable to your contacts, and you had those birthdays that you harvested from Facebook or through conversations. Here's what a birthday smart plan might look like. 6 days out from their birthday, because it's date triggered, it tells you to send a handwritten note to this person. Okay. Then it waits 4 days, and then it tells you 2 days before their birthday to call them. Why not call them in advance? Right? Then wait a day, then a task, and then maybe put a social media post together, okay, that says happy birthday, and then last, maybe there's a quick text on their birthday to say happy birthday. You can do whatever you want, but this is the way the KW built one for you, right? Do all these, do some of this, but do something. But again, here's seeing the dynamic of this. There's a task, there's a delay, there's an email, there's a phone call, and a text, all on one platform. So now you see why it's important to have Twilio connected, have the KW email connected, so everything kind of comes together. Now I'm going to answer one question here. Tasks will publish inside of Command. They do not at this point publish to your calendar. So there's a calendar connection that we talked about that's fairly limited right now. Working on enhancements there, but tasks will populate and update you in Command. And if you had tasks on the left-hand side, okay, you'll see them under your taskbar. What's due today, or what's due next week, or what did I miss? So this is where you're tracking. Have they completed? Have they been archived, or they expired? If, and I found this out, these funny things we learn, if you don't check these off, they become archived after about 30 days. So you may think that you had something scheduled to do, and if you didn't do it and it went past, it'll then dump into archived, okay? So if you're ever not sure and something seems to be missing, then it may have dumped into archived, right? I had an agent go through and literally build out a year's worth of tasks and then was calling me and said, they're all gone. Well, the problem wasn't that they were gone, it's just that he wasn't marking them as complete, and the system would have just kind of stockpiled all these tasks in an unmanageable list. So they make them disappear from you because they're assuming that after 30 days, either you've done it or you don't want to do it. So it's taking them out of view. So just be aware to filter through here if things seem to be missing. They're probably not. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go back into this page here. Now, below that, I see top rated, as I touched on why it was important to rate these videos, right? Smart plans. What's new, right? This is getting into now coaches, or you see Pro Coach A, these are different smart plans, are agents that have created. So these are new smart plans that have been added to the system. And you see there's thousands of them now. So you can kind of scroll through and see what's there. I can filter by category over here on the right-hand side. Hey, show me everything that's new. Okay. I can, on the left-hand side, I can search by a topic. So I'm going to delete this now. And just, let's say I want to search by Facebook. Seems to be a hot topic, right? So any smart plan that has the word Facebook in the name of it, I can filter. There's 235 different smart plans around some version of something in Facebook. So you can go through, you can filter through those. You can filter, you can change from name to author. So maybe you know that Marty Miller or Nick Baldwin or myself created a smart plan that you wanted to go find. You could search by their name. So you'll see all of them that are created. Okay. I'm spinning wheels on my side. My internet, my bandwidth anytime I'm streaming seems to be a little off at times. I could search. Oh, didn't pull them up there. Maybe something's a little bit askew, which happens sometimes on my filters. There you go. I had lowercase m and it didn't recognize. So there's some things we got to clean up. It's capital M. So be case sensitive on some of these things that you're filtering out. So here are different ones that Marty Miller has created. So just different ways that you can go through here. And then there's also a filter to drill down even more. Just show me everything that has 5 stars. Show me everything that starts with a certain number of touches, right? Show me how many agents are using a certain smart plan. Just show me ones that are. Okay. So just different examples of how to filter through finding smart plans inside of this library. Any questions on what you're looking at here, different smart plans, what they're telling you, how to find smart plans, or how to add them to your personal library for you to use? Okay. Anything in chat I need to address, guys? All right. So I'm going to come back now to my Smart Plans library. And I'm just going to pull up, you know, I should just grab one. Let me grab one. All right, there we go. So I've already created this missing email. That's a 1 step. There we go. Let's do this one. All right, we'll call this, we'll bring this one in. His 66-day challenge. So perfect example. So in this 66-day challenge one, which I guess it looks like I've already downloaded at some point, so that's why it's not letting me do it, but great example. Within his smart plan, you'll see that it's called a smart plan bundle. So that smart plan bundle tells me that part of his overall smart plan includes multiple smart plans. So when you click download, it's going to prompt you to not download just his smart plan, but the other smart plans that make up his smart plan. So they can be staggered out and incorporate other smart plans together, which is really, really nice. And so that's what we're seeing here. So let me go back and find that in my list. Go back to my smart plans. There it is, smart plan challenge. So if I were to come here and click edit. So now I've copied Marty's smart plan and I have it in my database. And here's all the steps, right? So on the left-hand side, I see all the different steps. Okay. Step 1, it's going to send out a text. Step 2, it's going to wait a certain number of days. Step 3, it's prompting me to make a phone call. Step 4 is another delay. Then it's going to send out another text. And what you're seeing in these boxes, right? This is the text that's going to go out. So if I run with this smart plan and I don't make any changes and I say go, I add people to it, right? Step 1 is going to be this text. And this is the text that they're going to receive. And you see the text, the way it's written, and then it has these bracketed contact name, right? That is the mail merge. So it's going to know, it's going to say, hey, Ted, thanks for clicking on the home I posted on Facebook. This is David. Right, it's going to introduce you and it's going to contact them based off of that info from their contact record, okay? Because it knows his name and it knows my name. So it's automatically going to add that information for you. Now, here's what I will tell you to be careful of. Some agents are trying to be very, very helpful, but don't yet fully understand how to use everything in the platform. That's fair, right? So some of the smart plans that are created you will see when you bring them in, instead of these mail merge fields, what you might actually see are, hey, contact, black, bold, quotes, brackets, whatever it is. And the agent just kind of blocked it in for you to say, hey, you need to put something here. And they didn't know to use the mail merge. I actually had an agent really upset that they were copying somebody's smart plan that wasn't built this way. They got upset about that. And we had a conversation, we disarmed them, but I found that interesting, right? That they didn't understand the nuance that somebody was trying to be helpful and they just didn't understand all the aspects of the platform yet. So be conscious of, and I challenge you and I implore you that when you copy somebody else's plan, walk through all the steps, make sure the mail merges are accurate, and that they don't reference somebody else. Sometimes they type their names in there. Sometimes they add things, their brokerage, their market center, their region, their area, right, that are specific to them that you might need to clean up and modify because they didn't use mail merge. So read through every step before you just come in, click and go, right? You don't want to have something go out that doesn't represent you properly, that looks bad. So understand this is leverage and support to your business, but take the due diligence to scroll through and understand what's going out. That's a fair request, right? No? Okay, we'll say yes. All right. You know, I forgot to say this in the beginning. For those of you that are on and don't have your camera on, I'd really appreciate it if you turned your cameras on. It's hard training to blank screens all day, right? Unless you've been an instructor, you may not truly understand that. I yell at my kids all day for tuning out their teachers, not turning on their cameras. So I ask you guys the same thing. If you could turn on your cameras, I appreciate it. And I know all trainers do. Okay, so we see the texts, we see the emails, and you know now that you're going to modify or change anything that needs to happen in here to reflect you. Or maybe you add a step. You literally have the point now that if I wanted to add a task, I could do that. And what happens is it automatically adds it to the end, right? And if I wanted to move it, I can use these arrows to move them up and down of the order if I wanted to insert a step along the way from the smart plan that I copied. I could add a task. I could add a call or an email. I could pause a different space, okay? And this particular one says restart. And then at the very end, it says add smart plan. Now at the very top, once the smart plan is the way that you want it, okay? There's a couple of next steps, okay? I can add a trigger and then I can add people. First, I'm going to talk about trigger, because triggers are something that are going to become more and more common in our command world as we evolve and build out the platform. At this point, this is kind of version 1 for triggers. I click add trigger event, okay? It's recognizing that, okay, inside of contacts, I can have a trigger. And that trigger is tag driven. So if I tag somebody, I don't want emojis, I don't want false church, I want Facebook. If I tag somebody in my database, where's my leads? I tag somebody a lead, okay, or a Facebook lead or whatever I called it. And I said, the moment I tag somebody with this specific tag, this smart plan triggers. Okay, smart plan, a Facebook lead comes into my database. I have a Facebook specific smart plan that I want to apply all new leads to. That lead comes into my database. Okay, I'm notified by Kelly command wherever I'm at the moment. Okay, I then go in, I mark that lead with a Facebook lead moniker or tag or whatever I created. Right, the moment I add that tag, this smart plan starts. That's pretty cool, right? Now, that's for all new. Now, if I have pre-existing contacts that are already on this tag, maybe I have people already tagged that way, it won't pick them up. So I'll have to add them to the smart plan if something I want to start to run. But anytime I add a new tag, this will automatically add that person to the smart plan and start running on my behalf for that. That's what triggers are. Triggers are becoming more and more involved to automate the processes for you on the back end. This is just step one of that. Okay. Now, how do I add people to a smart plan? Okay. I can hit the little plus button at the top. Yeah, I'm going to save the changes that I made. I missed the field, so actually I don't want to. I don't even actually know exactly what. Not sure what I actually clicked. That's the problem with training live. Sometimes I'm not exactly sure everything. I think it was the step. So I'm actually just going to delete that. All right. So now I hit add people. This box pops up. So I can either search by name, okay, and pick a person, or I can search by tags, click on tags. I can't type the tag name, okay, so I wish we could. I have to scroll down and find the tags and checkbox what I want, right? Let's say I wanted to add these people, or all of them. I can click add to smart plan, right? And remember I said I can only do 20 at a time in this bulk ad platform. So I'll show you another place to go around and do that, okay? Then I click add to smart plan. Now, when I click add to smart plan, it's going to ask me some questions. Do I want to start now, immediately? Do I want to start on a specific date? Or do I want to stagger the start? Now, that's why it's important to know how your smart plan is made. If there are phone calls involved in your smart plan, staggered start might be the way to go. Because if I have 500 people on a smart plan that includes smart plans and they all start on the same day, then on that given day, whenever that trigger and whenever that call is supposed to happen, I'm going to have 500 tasks to call all those people. So be mindful of how the smart plan is made up. And if there are calls involved, you will see this option to stagger those out. Okay. Now, there's a couple of things I do want to make you aware of. There's spamming laws. Make sure you have the right to call somebody. Make sure you have the right to text somebody. If they're your contacts and they've given you a number, you're good, right? If you've acquired a list from somewhere else, then you have to adhere to the laws. And you'll see pop-up notifications on here saying, do you have permission to email this person, right? If you're not clear on what those laws are, I'm going to steer you back to your broker and your team leader to get clarification on that, right? I'm not a broker, so I'm not going to give you an answer there. You know what it's like to receive phone calls and be on the do not to call list because we're all probably on it, right? So you are susceptible to spamming laws and people do get sued. So I'm not trying to scare you, but I'm trying to scare you. Be smart, be conscious about the decisions that you make and how you communicate with people. All right, this is recorded, so I'm protected. You can't tell me that I said otherwise. Right, Ted? All right. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and add these people, but if I click start, then it would start on step one now. Now, I do want to inform you of this. That first time you send a text message, and this one happens to lead off with a text message, okay, they will also receive a text message from Twilio. So it is really important that in this first message, you do say who you are, because if they don't have that number for you, and you haven't clarified who you are, it's just going to be some random text, okay? And Twilio is going to send a text message because of the spamming laws that says, would you like to unsubscribe from receiving these text messages? You can't do anything about it. It's there to protect you and us together. So I want you to be clear in your first text message that goes out that you state who you are, especially if it's somebody that doesn't know you, okay? Hi, this is David. I utilize this number for business communication purposes. I wanted to follow up with you. You're also going to receive a message that says, hey, you have the right to unsubscribe from this. I hope you don't, but I just wanted to be clear where I'm going with this, right? And that can happen from you in a conversation, but they will receive that text message. Can't do anything about it. And you can't change the message that comes from Twilio asking them, would they like to accept or unsubscribe? Now, if they do unsubscribe by texting stop, they can start back up again by texting start, right? I've had people that, oh my gosh, my clients didn't know it was me and they unsubscribed. Have them text start to come back in. I want you to know how the platform works, okay? So don't be surprised when you see text messages go out that it won't just be one text, it'll be two that first time you text them. I need to kind of hammer that point across to you guys, because I get those calls quite regularly. All right. Now, I'm going to come back out here. Go to time. You can also create your custom smart plans. You can create your own smart plans from scratch. So I'm going to come back out to the home page, and on the upper right-hand side, you can click create. Okay, what's my smart plan? I'm going to call it session 2 test. You're going to have a blank screen this time, right? When we copied, we saw a bunch of things in place. Creating your own, you start from scratch. So what do you want to do? Okay, maybe I want to do a movie night. So my first step might be a task for myself. Oh boy, I butchered that up, didn't I? This is just basically something for me to do, right? Create flyer. Next step might be then, and I set a delay, and I want to move that delay up. So it's create flyer, wait 5 days. It takes me a couple days to create these things. Send. All right, this subject will be invite for movie night. Okay. And then here could be a text message or a, email message. Hi, contact. We are having our, I'm just going to type it, quarterly movie night. Some people actually do them quarterly. Okay. And then this would be the next, then I would set delay. Then I might say, there's a text message. Okay. Hi, mail merge, contact. You can get the point here, right? And then you're going to see these notifications. Do not call, do not text the phone, do not call list if you don't have permission to call it. So that's what you see here. Dynamic texts are that I could actually have multiple texts. So if I did, hey, you know what? I want this email to go out, wait a day, send a text. And then I want to send a second text. If I had dynamic text, it'll go in order. Send text 1, then waited whatever preference time that I said, add text 2, add text 3. So that's what the difference between standard and dynamic is there multi-texts built into the platform. Most people are just comfortable with static, but I want you to know the difference between the two. The third step might be, or the fourth step now, maybe that email now is actually sending them the flyer for the movie night. So simple is just written word. Designs would be that I create something in my designs, which we'll cover later, that I need to choose that I pre-built for them to their movie night. And then I would hit send. But you see how pretty straightforward and easy that is to create, right? Your own custom smart plan. Now, in some of these things, you'll see different things. You'll see there's some are emoji enabled. Some are merge fields, which we talked about. You've got this WYSIWYG or an editor, which sees what you get, bold, italics, text, block, bullets, right? Color fonts. I can hyperlink, right? So maybe your movie night is linked to an Eventbrite registration. Click here to register for the event. You add that hyperlink click. So that's what a hyperlink is. I would think at this point, everybody's pretty comfortable with hyperlinks. Type in, redirect it to a link for something to go on. Save, add people to the event. Before I go in and show you bulk adding other people, any questions around creating, editing, bringing smart plans into your library? Anything in chat I need to address that I didn't go over? Ted, Shelley?
There is a question in chat.
Okay.
If someone unsubscribes, do we need to manually remove them from the smart plan? Or does
Great
the
question.
system automatically recognize?
Great question. So the way the system works right now is that if I have a consumer on a smart plan and they unsubscribe, they will be unsubscribed from the smart plan emails. They would still receive the text. The text is a separate system. Okay, I know that's maybe not the answer you wanted to hear, but that's just how it functions right now. Okay, and if they unsubscribe to this from this email, the system, I don't know how to word this, I can still add them to other smart plans. It won't block you from adding them or emailing them in the future. Right? They're working on some alerts and building out the platform that will say, hey, this person unsubscribed, and it's stamped to their contact record. And what I recommend is if it's somebody you know and they unsubscribe for something, to me, that's a trigger to have a conversation. Because sometimes people have the case of the Mondays where they're unsubscribing to everything because they're annoyed with all the things that are in their inbox. So if somebody you know, you might want to call them and just say, hey, I noticed you unsubscribed from my movie night invitation. That might be an accident. Oh yeah, I was just, ignore that, add me back. Great. If it's somebody you don't know, you're conscious of that too. Thank you for unsubscribing. Do you mind if I just continue to update you with the emails or the listings that you're interested in, or whatever that might look like, right? So be conscious of that. At this point though, the system does not, it will remove them. It'll put them unsubscribed on their contact record. You will not see a list anywhere that says all these people unsubscribed. Remember, I showed you reports that says unsubscribed, but you're not going to be able to click on that and see a list of those that have unsubscribed. This is important. It is a priority. KW is working on a way to get notifications to you in that, but you do need to be clear that right now, that's how it works. Okay. If they unsubscribe from a text, that will unsubscribe them from all texts. Okay. They're two different platforms, right? Command email and Twilio are different services. They want to get added back to a text, they would have to text start again. Okay. So that's the clarification. That's the difference between unsubscribe. And actually, I'm going to post an article here. They just released an article this morning, which I thought was timely. I will pop this in chat to answers.kw. Remember, Answers is your friend, right? Answers is where you can find information to everything, right? So here's a link to an article about what happens when somebody unsubscribes from a smart plan email. I've asked them to add a little bit more detail about the texting side of things, but that right now, that article addresses smart plans. All right, so good question there. Did I clarify that well enough for you guys? Okay. All right, so now you know how to add people through smart plans here. Let me show you how to add smart plans from either the contact record, okay, or from bulk. So if I come back to contacts, just want to get out of here, discard my changes. All right, I'm just going to go to a contact record here. I'm just going to pull up the first name I see. All right, so I'm going to go to Melinda here. You know, I need somebody with an address. One second. When I'm training and talking and doing things too fast, that never ends well. Because I didn't check address, I checked email. All right. On Jenny here. So Jenny's somebody that I have an address to. So when we talked about yesterday about pinning those addresses to Google, right? You'll see this here. This is what will be attributed to either the biweekly nurture or the monthly neighborhood nurture. To me, which if you're going to start with 2 smart plans or just one, quarterly call plan is a must. So, you know, when you're calling people, the other would be the bi-monthly or the monthly neighborhood nurture. This is the most value you can provide somebody coming from contribution that I assure you, they're not going to unsubscribe from, right? This is valuable information to them. So I have their address in the system. It's pinned to a map. So they're in this area down in South Riding. If I click this preview button, I'll see what that actually looks like. Right? They'll receive an email. And when they click on an email, this opens up under properties or neighborhood information. It looks like they're on your website, right? Your contact information is here. Your branded to your active listings are going to be in here, right? You'll see the neighborhood is up here at the top. If they click on any listings or properties here, they get details about the neighborhood, all types of great information for them that's going on in their neighborhood. And that's why I love this, right? They can also, while they're in here, look at neighborhood stats. So it tells me everything that tells them everything that's going on in their particular neighborhood. Average days on market, average price point, number of sales, right? Transit and commute, which is kind of cool. They could actually put their address in for work. And it'll tell them how long the drive is to their office from the address of the property that they're looking at. Now, be mindful, this is not attached to Waze, so it's not going to adjust for drive times or crashes and things like that. So these are relatively estimates on drive time, okay? But they can add multiple places. I think there's a limit. It might be 3 locations that they can put on in here, okay? Their schools are pulling in. We know the taboo about talking about schools and crime stats, but this is pulling in from a third party, so that's okay that it's being shared that way, okay? So there's Yelp reviews for restaurants in that particular neighborhood, which I thought is really, really cool. Other homes for sale, other neighborhoods in the area that may be similar to where they're at. And then if there were properties of similar like in the area, it will say, hey, check out these other properties too. Remember, this is not editable by price point. It's just showing them all the activity. So if they're in a neighborhood that has, you know, $400,000 houses and $700,000 houses and condos and townhouses and single family or attached, they're going to see all of that, right? There's no filtering that way. It's just an update of where they live based off the boundary marker from next door, which is not under our control, right? That defines what their neighborhoods are. Now, they can add additional neighborhoods. Okay, so you can see I can't click here because it's not a live screen, it's a demo. But in their side, they can add additional neighborhoods. On your side, right, it's pinned to their home address, but you can also add additional neighborhoods for them. Right? Maybe they're in a neighborhood that's not boundaried right. So you can choose the other neighborhoods that surround them that maybe contain like properties or complete their neighborhood. My neighborhood is split in half, so I have to add multiple neighborhoods, right? Also, when you have a relationship with somebody, a true relationship, I love this, okay? So think about it this way. If you had a client that's from somewhere else, take me for example, I'm from Jenkintown, Pennsylvania, okay? I often look at activity in Jenkintown, Pennsylvania. So I might set up Jenkintown, Pennsylvania, because you can do this. It's not just local to your MLS, it's national. I can set up Jenkintown, Pennsylvania as an additional area of interest for them. I can add Lakes of Ashburn, where they currently live, as an area of interest for them. I can add Key West, Florida as an area of interest because that's where I know that they want to retire. So think about you're sending them information, not just about where they live, where they came from, and where they want to go. That's a different conversation, right? That's incredible value to somebody that says you care and you're giving them things that they want to know about. I love the dynamic nature of that it's not, you can give them more than just where they live. I think that's valuable. So to add this, right, just to be clear, when I pin them and it says subscribed, okay, well, it'll say subscribe to neighborhood, does not mean you launched a smart plan. You have to be specific. We're now pinned them to their smart plan. You would actually go to smart plans at the top of your contact record. Now they are connected, but I would click the button that says add to smart plan right here. And I would choose the bi-weekly or monthly neighborhood nurture to make sure that they're set up on this. And then it'll say, do you want to start now? Do you want to start on a specific date? I like to send mine off anywhere between the 1st and the 5th of the month. So if I'm later in the month, like today's the 24th, if I was going to add somebody new to this smart plan, I would probably wait to kick that off to the 1st or the 5th of the month. That's just me. You might have them stag number all through the month. Doesn't matter. And the cool thing is, while they'll receive this email from you either every 2 weeks or every month, depending on which platform, it's a live link for them. So if they save that link, anytime they go back to that link, it's going to have the most up-to-date information. So it's constantly refreshed and updated for them if new properties came or went off the market. So that's just good for you to know that when you're sending these things to people, telling them what they're getting. Okay. You can also add somebody to a smart. So we talked about the smart plan button here. Under the 3 dots is add a smart plan. So the 2 places from the contact record to add them to a smart plan. From the contacts homepage, we can bulk add people to smart plans. Okay. So remember yesterday I showed you can filter out your database by up to 500 people. If I said, hey, show me all 500 people on this main page out of my 600. Okay. And then I select all of the people on that page. Okay. I have this bulk action button. Add everybody to a smart plan. What smart plan do I want to add them to? I'm going to send them to my. All right, filter's not working the way I want. Happens sometimes. So I will just search for it and scroll down. And I would go down and I would choose which one I'm going to send them to, select. And so everybody on the screen would be added to that smart plan. Now, in order to add them to a smart plan, they have to have certain elements, right? They would have to have, if they were in this smart plan and I chose everybody, I would have to have a neighborhood selected for them to start, right? I would have to have an email address for them, or well, there's nothing to send. So you may add somebody that doesn't get sent because you might be missing pertinent information depending on the smart plan. Either their email is missing or you don't have them connected to a neighborhood. So that particular smart plan won't go, right? If it's a smart plan that's sending text messages and there's no phone number associated, that's a cell phone, then it won't send text messages. So troubleshoot when you see things aren't working right, make sure that you've given the system all the proper information for those smart plans to work the way they're supposed to work. All right, so we're 5 minutes long. So we covered smart plans, creation, addition, copy, edit, create from new, and all the multiple places that you can add people to the particular smart plans, plus a little bonus material of why I love the biweekly neighborhood nurture so much, and utilizing that multi-step script of where they came from, where they live now, and where they're going. Like that's real value that I would say when you have relationships with people in your database that you can provide for them. I'm gonna go ahead, and that's where we're at for today. But I will, if there are questions that I need to answer, or you guys want to go open mic, now's that time.
Dave, wouldn't you recommend having them all set themselves up on a smart plan?
Yes. Thank you for questioning it. Yes. First person that should ever be in your contact list is you. So things that you're going to send out to the public, set yourself up so you're aware of what's going on and how they work too. That's a great point. Thank you. Yes, everything is on the YouTube channel or the Facebook channel. Everything's recorded. You can go back and watch these things. Answers.kw.com. That's your friend, right? Anytime you want to research something, go to answers.kw.com and look it up there first. More than likely, a good fact page and article there can help you understand things a little bit more better before you then reach out to your Market Center Tech Trainer.
So I have a question. I saw that you had someone like in Chantilly where, you know, my husband works in Dulles. So if I had someone that was in that area as well, but I'm located here in Midlothian, could I still use their information, or is it just for people that's here where I'm at?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like I referenced Jenkintown, Pennsylvania, where I'm from. It's national. And remember, referrals is a big part of your business. So I highly encourage you that anybody you're friends with, and I don't care where they live, you set them up on a neighborhood search. Maybe if they live in Reseda, California, you set them up on a neighborhood nurture for Reseda, California, because they may want to move at some point, and you can refer them to somebody else.
Great. Okay.
Yeah. So this is not isolated to the Bright MLS. This is national.
Okay.
Great question.
And it has some more questions here in the chat. Some of them, they had really good questions, but they didn't ask them. I'm going to go back up.
Ted, is there anything, Shelly, is there anything I missed that got asked that we weren't able to address?
Oh, someone asked, can you plug in the birthday into the contact? It says, can you plug birthdays into the contact and record in command? Oh yeah, she had like a question in regards to like the birthdays, like where are they getting their birthdays from? But I guess we're inputting that in it.
Yeah, I mean, Command's not going to be able to pull birthdays from anywhere. You have to input the birthdays.
Got it.
We talked in yesterday's contacts class, the best, somebody else answer this. Where's the best place to get birthdays from besides calling them?
Facebook.
Facebook. Absolutely. Now, trust but verify, right?
Yeah.
Not everything's as you seem, but I will tell you, because people are vain like me, most of those birthdays are accurate.
Yeah.
I like 300 people telling me happy birthday on Facebook. I like to have more than Ted has.
But if
Shelly knows where I'm coming from.
yeah, I like my recognition on my birthday.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. It's trust but verify, but I will tell you a lot of those dates are accurate. All right. So if there's no other, Letitia, you have something else?
No, I was reading all their they had really good questions. Like, do you do specific text without Twilio first? Is that my understanding? Oh yes. Okay, so do you have to like, I guess, send them, let them know like, hey, this is going to be coming from like a third?
I do recommend, because that first email trigger, when you send it, it's going to send that combination. It's going to have a second email that's going to say, hey, do you like to unsubscribe? So I do like to send a text message first, just to let them know, hey, this is my work number. You'll receive text messages for to keep you updates and alerts, but you're also going to receive an unsubscribe. Just, I do let them know that.
Okay. And someone then asked also, is it possible to integrate to where when a lead is on, I guess, on Homelight or Facebook, for example, does it automatically upload into Command? Okay.
If there's a Facebook lead that you ran an ad, then yes, that loads to Command. Any other platforms, depending on what they are, there may be ways to pull that information in through what we call Zaps and things like that. Like Zapier is a great account to do that, depending if it's, if you do it realtor.com, on Homelight or whatever one you talk about, there may be some options to do that. But there's no automatic plugin for all those things. So we use third-party vendors to do some of that.
All right. And I think that was it. I think the other stuff you kind of covered.
All right. Well, thanks for clearing up the chat there for me, and let me know the other questions that my MCTTs were sleeping on the job with today.
Oh, no, fine. I like the questions, and those are the ones that I like was like, oh yeah, that's a good one. I want to know as well. So
Fantastic.
So
thank you, David. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you.
All right. I will see you. So tomorrow we cover opportunities tomorrow. So 10 o'clock. Again, another robust session, probably go a little bit longer than an hour. I try to keep that tight, but tomorrow we'll take a deep dive into opportunities, your digital whiteboard. So I will see you all then, and thanks for coming. And this recording will be posted at some point later today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.